Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Friday Night Live. This Friday is the one in between Christmas and New Year. I am joined by the usual suspects. Looking at the top right, depending what way you look at it, but top right is the one and only my partner in crime, Omar.
Evening, everyone. Evening to the chat. Evening, Mickey. You right, pal?
Yes, mate. Yes, mate. Just opened my can of cider as well. So yeah, nice. And we're joined by the Fantasy EFL show host, the one and only Jay Thomas. How you doing, fella? You all right?
Good evening, Mickey. Evening, Omar and chat. Hope you all had a good Christmas, better one than mine. Yeah, let's get into some good news tonight, eh? A few things to talk about.
No, that's it. Definitely. Right, without further ado, we're going to hit this. Good evening and welcome. Hopefully you've all had a fantastic Christmas period, apart from Jay. And to be honest, mate, he's only been on 5 minutes before pre-show, and I'm already bored of listening to him. So don't whatever you do, push him down the road of telling you how he feels or anything else, because we don't do sympathy on this show, mate. We just do factual notifications. So yeah, I suppose we'll start as we mean to go on. Then Alex Neil is adamantly going to be revealed as, according to multiple news sources now, and a couple of agents, that he is now going to be our new manager. I think he's taking over our first home game. I think he's possibly going to be in the stands, some reporting, against Coventry, and he will be taking charge, we believe, against Gary Rowett. So ex-Millwall manager versus the new Millwall manager. Before we get on to anything else, gents, your thoughts on that, and those of you in the chat, let us know what your thoughts are. Come on, then. Let's have them.
Yeah, okay. I'll jump in. I think it's we've got the appointment. It's imminent. It's coming. It's obviously day 17 today, I believe. I saw on Twitter earlier, so don't quote me to that. But
17.
Day 17, and it seems we're almost there of getting our manager. Yeah, as betting suspended, it's reported everywhere. I think that Percy Telegraph put it out and saying he's going to be in the stands on Sunday. Look, it's a positive. We've got the manager.
Reported it that it's happening. So yeah,
there you go. So yeah, I mean, it's now a case of let's get him in, back the manager. It's a shame he's not going to be there for Sunday, but I think obviously he'll be in probably our Magic train Monday. I figure. I don't know when they're going to announce it, but I suspect it'll probably be after the Coventry game. Give Liverpool one more game, and hopefully we can get a good result there on Sunday, really. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think, as I've said all along, it wasn't really something I got infused about when I heard the name, but it wasn't something I was totally against. He's, a decent manager at this level. He's got a good track record, and I think I get the ambition from everyone wanting these big names. I know he's only joking there, born free, die free, about Mourinho. But look, I think
I like that. I wanted Mourinho, and we got Alex Neil sent as a cunt.
Yeah, that's it. So, but look, I you know what? I'm glass half full about it. I think it'd be interesting appointment and see what happens. Really, and we'll go from there. Right, straight into the baptism of the fire.
No, that's it. Good morning, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone listening, and those of you watching now as we are recording it in the evening. Good evening to you. Good evening to Mike. Hope you had a good Christmas, Stephen, Dan Riggs, Chris Brown, Dan Chapman, all of that lot. So yeah, what's your thoughts on Alex Neil then, Mr. Happy?
I actually really like it. Look, it ain't it's not the most sexy appointment. A few people have compared him to Gary Rowett. And you couldn't be further from the truth. They are completely different managers. For anyone that's bothered to do a bit of research or watch some of his football, they're completely different. Neil prefers to play a high pressing counter attack. He's very flexible. He likes to use the youth and be a bit more direct. And Gary Rowett's the complete opposite of that. Prefers experience, prefers to be defensively stout. I think it's a really good appointment. He's got a wealth of experience, 3 promotions at the 5 clubs he's been at. The big one for me, I mean, you take the promotions out of it. Well, he did at Preston with, not a very big budget, managed 191 games, and he didn't lose in 120 of them, and they had them as a perennial playoff team. So yeah, I really like the move. I think he's no nonsense as well. You hear some of his interviews, he'll fit in down here.
Yeah, no, I think he will as well. Daily Millwall, no, it's not a new watch. It's a new strap. It's a new Apple strap, but it's not a new watch. It's an Apple watch, but it's not a new strap. So yeah, or it's a new strap, not a new watch. So yeah, but no, I think he will. I mean, yeah, the amount of fans will seem to be saying his football's exactly the same as Gary Rowett. It's a boring football. It's this, that, and the other. I think you're probably looking at more rumours than anything else. I don't think you're actually looking at facts. They play completely different. We have posted something earlier what gives a little summary of both, and we will look into it more with some shows over the next few days. But I think realistically, with what's available, who wanted to come to us, Robbins didn't want to come to us, Cooper didn't want to come to us, Mourinho obviously didn't want to come to us at the moment, still on existing contracts and bundles of money. Muscat's still got a contract running. No, he weren't going to come to us, but it's good to just play it along in it. Muscat weren't going to come to us because he's still got a contract there and he's just won the league over there, so he's obviously earning more money. I think there was a lot what I was led to believe went, but Alex Neil actually applied for the position. And I think that's the difference. I think we were looking
Somebody
at
wants to be here.
Well, and I think we were looking at Bloomfield, which I would have said Bloomfield is probably a good choice, but I just think right now he's probably a little bit inexperienced, and I think he's got a project he started at Wickham, what I think he probably would regret not finishing. Schumacher, I don't know. Me and Omar have had plenty of chats on him recent, and we don't know whether or not it was him or Ryan Lowe who was the main driving force behind it. He didn't really have that much championship experience to a degree with Plymouth. People go, with Plymouth, but he was only there for 4 months with Plymouth before he went to Stoke and then fucked it all up. So, again, no experience. So, I mean, realistically, if I asked you guys, they're your choices: Bloomfield, Schumacher, or Alex Neil. I think pretty much we'll probably all go with Alex Neil, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's a good hire. And just before Omar comes in, there's going to be a lot of talk of, is he going to buy into the board? Is it this and that? He wouldn't get the job and he wouldn't take the job if he hadn't bought in. That conversation's over because he wouldn't be here if he didn't buy in. That would have been the bulk of the interview process. Would be, this is how we want to run things. What is your input? And establishing ground rules and boundaries between the board, Gallen, and the head coach. That would all be ironed out, signed, sealed, and delivered. So I don't think there's going to be any issues whatsoever. And for someone like Alex Neil to want the job shows that it is an attractive club for what he's achieved in football. He's achieved a lot as a championship manager, more than most have. So I think it's a good appointment. I do. And he likes to progress with youth. So it's actually where he got his recognition from, was progressing with youth.
I also think that the fact that now we've got Steve Gallen and Alex Neil within the club with their black books and the people they know for loans and for buying opportunities and stuff like that, I think actually we're probably in a stronger position where we were before. And, no disrespect to Neil, but if I'm looking at black books, for, who's got the biggest cock sort of thing, then I'd say Alex Neil's black book's going to be fucking a lot better. Then
he's an upgrade on Neil Harris. Is he an upgrade on Neil Harris at Millwall? That's he's an upgrade at Neil Harris in terms of being a manager and for what he's achieved in football. But is he an upgrade at this club? That is going to be the telling.
I had a conversation with someone, and it was that what would you if these are the free shortlist, who would you choose? And I said, well, the problem you've got when Edwards come in, if Edwards had come in, like when Edwards come in, the problem we knew is that there was a lot of pros, pro guys who've been at the club a long time, who pretty much probably demanded what they wanted. Well, why the fuck are we listening to you? Who's that? Out of the three, I would say the only person who will come in and not put up with any of that shit would be Alex Neil. You could just see him coming in and going, listen, Bradshaw, you're fucking pretty much close to being a cripple. Shut the fuck up. If I want to play you in defence, I'm going to play you in defence. Now stop fucking whinging and get on with it. As in, if any of the others tried to do that to him, I think he'd probably cause a revolt and go, well, no, I'm not doing that. I want this. So I think personally, I'm quite excited to see what he can do. Tie that in with Mark Fairbrother's, 2030. We want to have a push at the Prem. And the fact that we've now got James Berylson there, who doesn't seem afraid to spend money if it's needed, and also to sell players if it's needed. Then and if the rumours are that SA's going, well, the fact that Amaku's coming on form, don't get me wrong, I'd be gutting to miss him. But to be fair, I think there's other players potential there and coming through where I don't think we'd miss him as much as we did if we went last January. Potentially.
I think, with Neil anyway, I think we all agree it's probably the safer option, which is maybe a negative you could try and spin it as. It feels like he's...
I bet someone on Twitter is doing that right now.
I think it's... I feel like I'm happy with the appointment in general. I think, we can all speculate what it's going to be like, but we'll find out very shortly, won't we? It'll kick off and we'll go from there. And we can obviously look at his previous track record and say, yeah, it looks quite promising. But, the truth will be in it when he joins in and see what happens. But I think it definitely is a safe option. It's definitely something where I think the club's learned from the mistakes of Edwards. Maybe, someone that's inexperienced in that case. And we've got the opposite here. Someone that's still relatively young in management terms, but he's got a good track record in Championship and ticks a lot of boxes for what we're trying to do going forward. Just hopefully he gets a good start, because it does feel a bit half negative a little bit. And I know online's only a small portion, and it's the vocal minority, as I like to say, a lot of it nowadays. But it has that kind of feel to it where if it doesn't get off to the start, I don't think we'd be like a Stoke. Stoke's sat in the manager again tonight. That's their second manager gone of the season already. I don't think it'd be that extreme, but it's just we'll have to wait and see how it plays out.
This time?
They got rid of the geezer that was at Norwich. He was the assistant manager there or something, wasn't it? I can't remember. Love nor money, but he was the assistant manager at Norwich. And obviously they've gone through two managers already this season, now, haven't they? So,
this hire as well is good news for Adam Barrett and Dave Livermore, because Alex Neil doesn't actually take people with him. He goes in alone a lot of the time. Yeah, and utilises the ball that's there.
That's what was going on there. I think Dave Livermore will be here. I think Paul Robinson will be here. I think we might see at some point, maybe now or at the end of the season, I think we'll probably see the end of Adam Barrett. Because I think he probably wants a challenge to take a League One or League Two team personally. Because I think... he does deserve it. Absolutely. Because I think us as fans really cunt him off. But actually, if you speak
unfairly
to the players,
as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if you speak to the fans and you speak to the players and speak to the board, not that we do, but if we did, people really rate him. If you speak to certain other members of staff, people really rate, they really do rate Adam Barrett. And I think defensively, set pieces stuff, I think he's been good over the teams over the years. So, wait and see whether or not Alex sits there and says, well, no, I want you here. But I think Livermore will be a good addition. And I think, obviously, Paul Robinson shows that he gets us and understands us. Maybe bring Robbo up and then, obviously, find someone else for the under-21s.
Maybe. I think it's lazy to say, just to assume Barrett should go and he's shit.
I don't think he should go.
No, but I'm saying the general consensus is online. It's like, get rid of Barrett, get rid of Livermore. We don't know what these people do behind the scenes, ultimately. And
I think Barrett's been harshly done by.
Yeah, and if Alex Neil thinks, he wants this person to come in and he wants to keep the same setup, I mean, every manager has their own sort of team that they normally come with. I figured it'll be some sort of assistant manager he surely will have. I can't confess.
Well, you say that, Omar. It's really strange because the last time he went into, I believe it was Norwich, he went in, didn't take anyone with him, waited 4 months. And I think it was the same at Preston. He actually just goes in by himself, has a look around, assesses it. So he may go in and have a chat with Livers, have a chat with Barrett and Robbo and Fitzgerald and all the others and Nugent. Maybe just try and build a staff from there. I think that'd be better for us and the club personally. If he
goes against the grain, though, doesn't it, Jay?
It does, yeah, I agree.
I know some managers. Fuck me, I remember when Conte went to Chelsea. I think he had like nine different coaches he brought in. At the time.
Part of me wants to clear out, though. I mean, like, this isn't big down to hating anyone like Barrett or anyone like that. Part of me just thinks we've gone new everywhere else on the field, new everything, ball. Let's just completely clear it out and not have anything there told. It's like you see it in the movies when people split up with their girlfriends in America. These American rom-coms are like they're fucking way out there, isn't they? They're burning all their clothes and sacrificial, and I just feel a bit like that. Like, just move on from everybody, let everyone have a fresh start. But and that ain't down to wanting to get rid of Barrett or Liverpool. If Neil has a place for me, then keep me. It's good camaraderie. Like Mickey just said, they've got a lot of fans within the club. That would rather keep them there than listening to what some of us fans have to say, to be honest.
I think at the same time, though, you do need some sort of sense of continuity a little bit.
Yeah,
so, I get what you're saying about trying to clear everything out, but then
I agree.
You want some people that have at least, I mean, in reality, we've not, last 7-8 years, however long Barrett's been here as well, it's been relatively successful for the club where we're at. So
it's also, has Neil got, a question to you, has Neil even got anybody? He's been out for a while, and I actually do think this is a good thing. The fact that he's been out for such a long time, he would have had time to watch football. That's the best thing a manager could do, is go and watch football. He would have adapted, see if he's done like. Has he got anyone that's just sat there waiting to go with him? I don't think he has. I don't think he's built that type of, not like a Neil Harris has with Livermore. I think he just sort of goes and wings it until he finds his staff. So I think it's good in that sense. But yeah,
he actually left his job a year ago. To be fair, I was looking. Well, not
23rd of December, wasn't it?
10th of December.
Been out a while. And he hasn't really done any. It's not like it's interesting because he hasn't gone and done any media stuff or anything like that. Because he's quite an aggressive guy. You watch some of his interviews, he's very to the point. He takes no more. He'll go and sort that dressing room out. That's probably the one key attribute I'd say he would have that will make him a fit here. That he will come in and he will Neil Harris the dressing room, if you will, in a sense. Not the type of Braveheart style of leader of men that Neil Harris has been at Millwall, with getting the players up for it, but in that same sense of command in the room, as opposed to what Joe Edwards was probably like. And in a sense, Gary Rowett was probably a bit of half a Joe Edwards, half a Neil Harris. He didn't strike me as someone that was in there, all guns blazing. I think Neil was probably closer to Harris than Rowett in that sense. So that's probably a good thing, that he's took his time, sat back, watched football rather than sat in the punditry boxes and things like that. We all know what Scottish managers are prestigious for probably being some of the best managers in the world and being very aggressive managers. So I think it's a good fit overall. I really, really do.
Should we do a bit on Norwich? What do you think, Neil?
We'll have Will coming on in a minute at some point shortly from Nugent Den. So yeah.
What do you think Alex Neil thought of the Millwall team of late after yesterday's game?
I think it's good that we lost that game the way we did. Now, and I say this we didn't get hammered. I actually thought we played pretty good. I mean, I thought the goal we scored was brilliant piece of attacking football, one-touch football. Of course, I thought it was a really good goal. I thought we was in the game. I think it gave Neil some. He would have obviously known he's probably taken the job. He would have watched that game with eagle eyes, I imagine. And I thought it was a good game for him to understand some players, especially a game where you're 2-0 down. How do these players respond? What's the attitude like of some individuals? Do they drop their heads? That sort of. So I thought it was good. It was probably good in a sense. It's a process. I enjoyed the way that we fought back. The goals we gave away were horrific, absolutely horrific. I mean, Tango was, he doesn't do anything wrong, but I don't know what he was doing, lashing at it there. And Joe Bryan completely left his man at the back stick for the second, trying to cover for Tango for the second. So it was two very, very poor goals to concede, a really good goal to score, and we was in the game. It's it was just one of them days. We never fare well up there. I was up there last year on one of Gary Rowett's last games where it got really, really bad. You was there, Omar, 10 years ago when we lost 6-1. We never fare well to him. I expected a loss. And it's a learning curve for the new manager. Sometimes you kind of need that for the manager coming in to look at things with a different set of glasses on. If we would have won that game, what's he going to be looking at? What's he going to be watching? What's going to be in his head? So it's good to get that probably out of the way for him to have a little thought about it. I thought it was good. We didn't get pumped, so and results didn't really go against us that bad. So yeah, I think it was a good process game for the
Fair
new manager.
to say they're goals we wouldn't normally conceded this season so far, and maybe okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to mention his name. He's gone now. He's gone, so I'm not going to mention it. But it's I don't know. For me, I thought anyway. Like I feel like they're goals that wouldn't happen under the previous regime. I know it's simplistic to say, but it felt like just a bit sloppy, a bit clumsy.
I wouldn't say it was style of play that caused the goals, though. I mean, you just look at the goals; they were barbaric, defending.
I would say style play. I think more so maybe along the lines of perhaps maybe I don't know, just standards dropping a bit, or I mean,
possibly. I mean, they stretched the field. Norwich stretched the field. I mean, you could probably argue that team that played against Norwich would have probably beat Oxford, and the team that played against Oxford would probably get a draw against Norwich. So you could sort of flip it on its head. But yeah,
while we're on Norwich, I'm going to bring Will in. Will is you guys ain't met Will, I don't think. Will is the new guy for News at Den. So all your content on socials and online and in the paper is a lot of it is by Will. Will is the new signing for this season with News at Den. And welcome. Hello, Will. You all right, fella?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Omar's got right. Jay's beside you, and obviously we talk, so you know who I am. We're just discussing Norwich, and just wondered what your thoughts are on that game.
It's funny. It's the first game of the season I covered but couldn't get to, and my mum kept on coming into the living room and saying, "Jesus, it's a bunch of shite, isn't it?" It wasn't the most exciting game in the world. I think Imaku coming off in the 13th minute really took a lot of the momentum out. Duncan Watson was great. He had a few great moments, but I think he really provides. I was looking into it. I did a piece on Monday on him, and he just, in terms of take-ons, no one else attempts as nearly as many take-ons. He's like, he gets in, cuts in, and goes. And he's really hard to replicate sometimes. And I think, the second half was a lot better. Obviously, David Livermore was trying to do something a bit more ambitious. But yeah, it didn't quite work out. And yeah, it's just one of those games. Boxing Day, it's tired. It's going to be a tricky stretch. It's going to happen. It's away as well. It's not easy, but yeah, it was disappointing. Hopefully, Alex Neil sorts that sort of stuff out on New Year's Day.
So I said earlier when we come on live, obviously I said about that Alex Neil's being reported that he is going to be the new manager. Hopefully they'll announce it soon. For those people who've got bets on, I think the bookies are now saying that you've got till the 31st at midnight on the 31st of December. If Alex Neil is announced before then your bets are valid. If it goes after that, your bets are all void. Typical bettors bullshit, but hey ho, it is what it is. So anyone from the club watching, just announce it sooner rather than later. So all those Millwall fans what took bets on it will somehow be able to have a little Christmas bonus, because we can't let the bookies win, can we? Do you know what I mean? So so I saw that your paper, obviously, Percy sort of hinted at it earlier, but you come out a little bit more strong-winded and said, he's definitely going to be at the stadium on Sunday, and also he'll be in charge of the first game, which will be old Millwall manager versus new Millwall manager. Obviously the club, I take it, have confirmed that it's happening.
Yeah, from what I understand, he's going to be announced after the Coventry game. So he'll be in the stands, he'll be watching. We'll see how Livermore decides to set up his last game as interim manager, head coach, I should say. But from what I understand, it's not confirmed until it's confirmed, and it's in the Millwall website. He'll be taking charge of the Oxford United fixture. I think it'll be a good fixture to start off with. Oxford, saying that Millwall went and drew 1-1 at Kassam Stadium, but they're not one of the heavy hitters in the Championship. A lot of their players are still, I think, League One caliber, and Millwall really should have taken 3 points from that game. I think at the Den, It'll be interesting to see what he sets up with. I've spoken to a few journalists from a few clubs he's managed at the past. A few mentioned he's at Sunderland, he was very wedded to the 4-4-2, which I'm sure a lot of the fans would be delighted to hear. He's also done a lot of 4-2-3-1. So it'll be interesting to see what he goes with, if he values Ivanovic's, if Marco's fit, if he values them, who he places his trust in. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I think it'll be a good game for him to start off with. Just have to see how the squad's doing after, 3 games in 6 days? Obviously, it's ridiculous how many games these guys have to play around this time, but yeah, see how it goes.
Do you think that that's a part of it, Will? I mean, you've been around the interview process after games and things like that, and obviously with Livermore being in interim charge for the 3 games, and with it being the Christmas period, do you think Neil would have been announced earlier? I personally do. If this was in October, say, do you think this would have been done a lot earlier? You look at the time frame, what was it, 17 days odd? It probably would have been done by now, and it's just a case of just keep the sort of what we know in there for now, just to get through this period and then get Neil in. Do you think he would have known he was in before this news just broke today from yourself and various outlets?
So, from what I understand, Mill were adamant that the process was still ongoing earlier this week, and that the other 2 names were still in contention. So, it's hard to say. I think the fact that Livermore provided so much continuity certainly helped the situation a lot. The players all mentioned they knew him. They said it was, Lenny after the game said it was business as normal playing under Livermore because he's been around for so long. So I think that probably helped Mill's decision. But it was surprising to see it take so long. I guess they wanted to be really thorough and be very precise with who they decide to get as the next. But I think that definitely helped that Livermore's been around. There was this busy schedule and they could trust him, I get, with the sense, and then go through the due diligence.
No, absolutely.
Omar, you got questions, fella?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just excited to obviously get him in at this point. I suppose it's just I haven't got any particular questions to add to it. I mean, you said you spoke to other journalists. Was there good? How was their relationship with the fans for Neil? Do you know, or was that kind of discussed? Because he seems to be quite liked in your clubs, from what I see online. Yeah,
well, I think what made a lot of people happy with him was he played quite attractive football. And I think one of the big problems has been, you've got all these exciting young talent, but it's not been the most exciting product on the pitch. I think from the start, I think you'll get Mill playing a bit more exciting football without losing that defensive solidity. But yeah, he's a no-nonsense talker. He's not, it's dependent on which journalist I've spoken to. Some have said he's been this charismatic figure, and some said he's a bit more reserved. So we'll see. But one journalist put it best. It made sense when he heard it, that the fit makes sense. So I think maybe he won't activate the den quite like Neil Harris would have done, but I think he's not going to be reserved. He's going to be, he's going to be no nonsense. He's going to tell the fans what he thinks. So I think there'll be a pretty good relationship. I think the fans have got a lot to be excited for, personally.
I think that's important, to be fair, because I think also, when I say what's my criteria for a Millwall manager, I think it's also got to be someone that's a bit of a personality and also a strong figurehead. And he does seem like that kind of person, to be fair. So time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah. Is the consensus, Will, that it's a good hire from the people you spoke to? Sorry, Mickey. No, you wanted to come in. Is the consensus that this is a good hire for Millwall, that this is a good manager and he can do bits at this club?
Yeah. There are a few issues flagged. I think there has been some issue with the head coach, sporting director system in the past. So I wonder if he's learned from that experience. I mean, obviously that would have been made clear to him in the interviewing process. So maybe that won't be an issue this time. But aside from that, it sounds like, from what I've heard, they've all been pretty enthusiastic about it. Like, again, he's got 2 promotions to the Premier League even. He's sort of, they were good sides he took over. He got them playing attractive football. It was a clear improvement on his predecessor. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited. I think it's a good hire. A lot of people think it's a good hire outside of the Mill ecosystem.
No, 100%. We've got a question for you, Will. Does your T-shirt say MILF?
Yeah, it does. It was what I was. It said, "Man, I love fun guy."
See, look, one of the viewers, it says, "Has Will got the word MILF on his shirt?"
Yeah. So, a bunch of mushrooms.
Right, okay.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
You had to elaborate there, Will. You'd have had a lot of new followers following you on Twitter, and it might not have been for the reasons that you think, mate. Yeah. Twitter's a dark place lately.
Dodgy, I promise.
Twitter is a really dark place.
Very dark.
If you're a Millwall fan. So, yeah, we thought that you know, a lot of the bullshit would stop, but it doesn't seem to have. So, yeah, hopefully when Alex Neil comes in and it stops, you know, we'll wait and see on that one. So, yeah.
Just one more question, sorry. I know
I've got one as well.
I know about your channels that ran it, but I saw another news outlet saying we're in the market for number 10 in the January window. I just wondered if you've heard anything about that at all, or if there's any murmurings. I know it's January's almost here, so it'll be transfer window time, and I'm sure late nights for you and trying to find out what's going on in the app news, so to speak. But is there any murmurings or anything you've heard similar to that?
I haven't heard anything, but from speaking to from asking questions, I get the sense that they're looking for defensive cover. I asked David Livermore, about Danny Mack, what's going to happen, especially over the winter period, festive period. He said we're going to have to find a solution now. Is that solution, promoting Ben Drake from the academy, for example, or Wes Harding at fullback, or is it signing a fullback? He didn't elaborate on that, but I'd imagine there's been discussions around Jake Cooper. He said is expected to be around to early to mid-January, but how long is it going to take for him to get match fit? So there's certainly going to have to be some defensive cover. I haven't heard anything concrete, but I could imagine a number 10 as well would make a lot of sense, especially who knows what's going to happen to Romain Esse. The club have said they're very, very keen to keep him. So we'll see on that. A lot of clubs just maybe lower down the Premier League, maybe high up in the Championship, looking for that extra push. Maybe they'd be interested, but it's hard to know. So I haven't heard anything yet, but we'll see in the next couple of weeks.
I've spoken to a couple of agents around there, and it sounds to me as if SA's agent is keen to push him around. But on what they were saying is that the player's more than happy, really. He wants to stay at Millwall probably to the end of the season and then move. But it seems as if his agent's trying to push it out a little bit earlier. But I think we'll have to wait and see on that one. Because I think there's, the trouble is, I suppose it gets led by, if you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 Premiership clubs that suddenly come in, the only benefit really is that it potentially could create a bidding war. And if it does that, then hey ho. Let's just hope that, if SA is as strong as he is, he will have the final decision, that he just sits there and goes, I don't want to go yet. I'll go in the summer. And also really big money signings, and he is going to be someone's big money signing to a degree, because I think it will probably be lower in Prem, but January doesn't normally happen with the big money signings, does it? So yeah, we'll see on that one. We're waiting and see on there. Jay, you got a question or not? If not, I'll come to somebody.
Yeah, I just wanted to have you heard talking about incomings and that. Will, what about any outgoings? We've got a lot of the youngsters or guys that haven't played much. Adam Mayer's back full fitness now. He made the bench at the weekend. Massey, players like that. Kelly, when he gets fit, should be fit when the transfer window's live. Any news on anything potential outgoings that you may have heard, even on permanents or loans outside of the big names that we know about?
So I've heard Adam Mayer, I think he's been considered for a loan. I haven't heard anything concrete about that. I know Neil Harris mentioned something about sending Adam Mayer out on loan. He's a young kid, sort of got injured. He hasn't really had much time to get game time at the senior level. He's been playing in a lot of under-21 fixtures, but they haven't played in a while, taking a break for the festive period. So I think it'd make a lot of sense to get him some game time as well. I could imagine, I haven't heard anything concrete, but I could imagine Daniel Kelly would be one of the ones, who they'd be looking to get on loan, but injuries have probably thrown a spanner into the works. So I'd have to see on that.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think he will go out on loan, to be fair. I don't think, but we're waiting to see on that one. What about, we're having a Scottish fella coming in. Do you think that Nesbitt might be safe?
I can't imagine they'd bring him back.
Good question, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed pretty toxic towards the end of it. I don't know how much that was just Neil Harris and Nesbitt falling out, but it seemed pretty toxic towards the end of it.
That was extremely toxic, wasn't it? That was literally, you can fuck off for nothing, can I drive you toxic? Do you know what I mean? It was. I mean, he was a lot of money for what he was, and he never really showed. What was he? 1.3, 1.4 million euros, I think. And he was on fucking big money, and he'd come off a double ACL injury and et cetera, et cetera. And he just never really, he come across as a lazy player, didn't he? He didn't really want to backtrack. And he seems to be doing exactly the same as Aberdeen.
1.3, 1.4 million euros, by the way. I need to pull you up on that one. You're talking different currency around it now, yeah? No,
That's what it was. All player transfers are done in fucking euros.
no, they're not. No, they're not.
No, they are, apart from our press change it to pounds.
What waffles this geezer talking about having this? No, it's GBP, mate. Anyway, no, I think I can't see him coming back, to be honest. You never know. I mean, I don't see Aberdeen triggering a clause to sign him, to be honest, at the end of it. I think he'll be back here next pre-season, and then maybe that's his redemption arc, but I highly doubt it with him, to be honest. I don't see it happening. But we'll see.
No, I agree. I really like him as well. I think there's a player there. Like, he's a good finisher. I was at Birmingham away when he hit that free kick. He looked really good with his movement, his pace, and his ability on the ball. I think he's got real good talent to make it in the Championship, not just at Millwall, but in the Championship. But you know, he just ain't up for it, is he? You know, that's the be-all end-all. He ain't up for it.
Sorry, Jay. On transfer market, by the way, it's he's valued at 2.5 million euros.
Yeah, but transfer market is a website. It doesn't mean it's done.
And they deal in euros.
Yeah, that's transfer market.
We're done. That's my point. Okay.
Your point was you say all transfers are done euros, mate. You're wrong.
As Daily Mail says, they deal in Scottish pounds.
That's it, man. That's it. So yeah, I mean, is obviously what you've been in now 3-4 months now, 3 months.
Yeah, it's been. I think it'll be 3 months. October. I started first day was 30th September. So yeah, 3 months.
So how you found Millwall? How you found watching Millwall? A couple of points on this, and how have you found the Millwall fan base on Twitter?
So I'll start with the first one. I think Millwall was a great club to cover because the access I get is great. You know, Neil Harris when he was there was very accommodating. I got a lot of great quotes from him, and the players were all fantastic, great to talk to. So the club's been great. I actually haven't seen Millwall score more than one goal in a game since starting as a reporter for News at Den. So I would say, you know, it's not always been the most exciting football, but I've enjoyed it anyway. I've enjoyed the Den, especially when it's really up for me against Leeds and Burnley. It was fantastic. But I mean, yeah, the attack, especially some of the away games, it can be really quite a tough watch. But on Twitter, it's been mostly fine. I feel like the vitriol is usually directed at the club rather than me, which is nice. But yeah, I've seen a lot of different, I've definitely seen the two sides of Millwall Twitter. There's a lot of bickering in the comments, which I quite enjoy personally. But yeah, I haven't had much vitriol directed towards me. It's all at the club. Perhaps some of the stuff I wouldn't agree with necessarily, but you know, that's football fandom, isn't it?
That is.
No, that's it, mate. That's it. No, really good. So will you be in attendance at the Coventry game or the Oxford game, and will you get a chance to sit down with Neil on New Year's Day and with Livermore after Coventry? If you do, will you come back and spill the beans on any of it?
Cool, you're ruining it.
Yeah, well, it'll be all on the website, so you'll get to see everything I ask him and everything that he says. But yeah, I'll be at both games. It'll be a nice trip to Coventry. It's actually where my dad's from, so it'll be nice to go back. And yeah, I'll be at both games, and hopefully we'll see what Alex Singer's like. Apparently he's a great very, very honest with the press, so should have a lot of great stuff to say.
Isn't he famously known for when a journalist turned around to him and said, "What's happening with such a player? When are they coming back from the injury?" He just went, "He'll be back when he's back," and moved on, and didn't actually.
I've actually read he doesn't like talking about injuries. He won't do like what Dave Livermore did, Will, when it's like, 5 weeks, this is the injury. Apparently, so I've read and I've seen we don't discuss injuries, not talking about injuries.
He was from what I talked to, he was apparently very accommodating. Well, maybe not accommodating, but he was very honest and in the state of the squad, which I assumed extended to injuries, but perhaps.
Just out of interest, was he was at Stoke when Aldo was there, wasn't it? Do you reckon that was the director of football he fell out with? Maybe I don't know.
So I've heard there was issues with recruitment at Norwich. Definitely, I think the issue I heard was perhaps at Stoke as well. The issue I heard was Sunderland which is why he left for Stoke. He wasn't super keen on the recruitment, but Norwich was definitely the big one where they were moving to that model. I think they're quite early adopters of it, and they got relegated from the Premier League, and it was just a disaster. They didn't properly refresh the squad, and it didn't quite click. But yeah, I think Sunderland as well was mentioned. He wasn't. He apparently made some comments to the press that he wasn't very pleased with how recruitment was going, and the journalist I spoke to thinks it sort of led to him moving on.
I mean, the thing is, go on, Mickey.
No, I mean, you answer yours, and then I'll ask mine in a sec. Not a problem.
I was just going to say, I mean, surely, them issues that he's had previously, the recruitment would have been a massive, massive subject in the interview process. The way of doing things between the board down to Gallen, down to Neil, would have been ironed out. It would have been signed, sealed, delivered. So surely we can't have any problems there. And Neil, any manager going into a new job, especially going into a new job when you're going to join on the day the transfer window starts, surely he's going to want some assurances that they might get a bit done or they might do some business, because I imagine SA would have been spoke about. I imagine Tanganga to some extent would have probably been talked about what is our process for replacing these players if the inevitable happens. So I'm sure he must have got good responses to them to take the job.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be very surprising to me if that didn't come up and wasn't properly discussed. I can only imagine Millwall have to feel confident that he's going to be able to stick to the setup they want, and they have to be confident that he's going to play the players maybe they want as well. There's a lot of rumours going around that maybe some of the younger players who Neil wasn't as keen on. He made quite a few comments in press conference that he didn't think Ivanovic was ready. Maybe he didn't think Marku was ready. I remember in the same comments as a Thicko press conference, he said, we've got two young players, a young striker and a young winger, who I assume he meant Ivanovic and Marku, were standing in the wrong place during a corner. So, and he made a lot of comments about Ivanovic is young, he needs time to get ready. You can understand why he's saying that. But yeah, Alex Neil must have discussed this, and the board must feel happy that he's going to do that.
I mean, I spoke to an agent in the week, and that was a question what I asked, is obviously that he's had a big falling out before over recruitment. And is it something, is that going to be a problem? And allegedly, I was told that it has been discussed, and actually he's, our method has gone right the way through, and he's spoken about that method and actually takes it on board that it's about looking at youth. It's about development. It's about finding the next generation. And, he seems to be very enthusiastic about it. And the board seems to be very enthusiastic about it. So, as far as the people I've spoken to, it seems to be a good fit all round, and everything what is being chatted about on social media about being a major issue going forward seems to just be, all in someone's mind or people's minds rather than actually major issues. So I think hopefully most of the Twitter fucking bullshit will stop now, and we can actually concentrate on about a team and results and start talking about things going forward now rather than fucking living in the past. Question for you just before we do go is obviously Neil was very vocal before leaving in the press, and I don't know what you've known, obviously speaking to probably John Kelly and stuff like that. It was very unusual for him to be so outspoken. I mean, how did you find that in your first few press conferences where he was very sort of vocal on disagreements between him and Gallen?
Yeah, so it was surprising, but it wasn't at the start. He ramped up to it. I think after the international break was when comments started to be made, and they were never quite direct, but they always had this really weird undertone to them, like maybe we haven't got the right players, maybe that's Millwall Football Club. It was odd, and it all made sense that he was stepping down, but he was always, apart from a few press conferences after losses where he was obviously not super keen, especially after when they lost to Coventry. He definitely wanted to get in and out. Aside from that, no personal issues. He was very, very accommodating, very friendly. But yeah, it was odd. It was certainly odd. It was sort of like sort of looking at the other journalists, like, did he actually say that? Was that actually what he just came out with? It was, and the Thicko's comment, like, I mean, I knew it was going to be a bloodbath on Twitter after that. It was ill-advised, I'd say.
But I mean, a lot of the things we were saying, he didn't know what was happening with this, that, and the other. But as far as I'm led to believe, and probably the same, he was aware of players who were coming in and out. He was just, he knew who was coming, and he had the final veto. I just think that he might not have had as much involvement in as he probably did in the past.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned he hadn't watched a game of Ivanovic before he joined, and obviously the injury. So, I can imagine he signed off, but I can't imagine it was a Neil Harris signing. And maybe that's where the contention was. It was never meant to be, and David said this and Neil said this, it was never supposed to be a long-term appointment anyway. I guess there was just a sense he was getting frustrated with the head coach role, and maybe it was time for him to go. And I'm glad it did not end acrimoniously, and the two sides, I'm glad he wasn't booed off at the Den. I'm glad he was given a proper goodbye. Even if it was a shit game, I'm glad he was clapped off, and he's still remembered as a club legend rather than all going a bit downhill, maybe after the festive periods.
You're going to get yourself a follower after this, mate. Omar's going to be on Twitter now, mate, looking for you and giving you a follow, mate, because Omar, out of us all, is the biggest Neil Harris fanboy you've ever seen. While you're on it, and before you shoot off, because we're running slightly shorter than we normally do. I mean, we got Coventry at the weekend. I mean, we're going to talk about Coventry, and you can probably lead us in. But your thoughts about how we're going to do at Coventry, and possibly any way you think we're going to set up?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't read too much into Coventry battering Plymouth Argyle, because I think Plymouth are in absolute shambles right now. I can't remember who Coventry lost. I think they've lost 2 out. If you ignore that game, lost 2 out of their last 4. I reckon
Mason's not playing either on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go then. I think he'll do 4-2-3-1. I think Langstaff will come back in. I can imagine it'll be Watmore, maybe Honeyman, maybe Essay. Give Aziz a break. I'd feel.
What's the news on Imarku, Will? Sorry, you got any news on Imarku's injury?
I'll have to find out Sunday. He just said he's going for a scan, so we don't know yet. But he won't be playing on Sunday. I can't imagine he'll be around for Oxford either. But maybe he'll be lucky.
Potential groin in it, I think, which he had before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a groin issue, so I can't imagine
that type of pacey player. That is a natural injury for them.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's good news, but he looked distraught coming off. But yeah, I think I would be optimistic if I was a Mill fan. I reckon Livermore's gonna want to go on a high. Yeah, he's not gonna set up, some crap. I think they can grind out a result. I know on the road Millwall haven't been fantastic this season, but they have the players to really frustrate Coventry. I'm not convinced by Lampard as a manager, but we'll see.
Great. Omar,
what do you want to know, mate?
Coventry, mate. Coventry. Your thoughts on Coventry?
It's going to be. I don't know. I think Lampard's obviously he's got one up on us already, hasn't he? So far, beat us, didn't he? Not too long ago. Look, I think, as Will mentioned there, you can't take into context the Plymouth game because Plymouth are a bit of a shambles, like mentioned there. I think I really don't know what to expect, to be honest. I think hoping the new manager being in the stadium watching on will spur the players on. That old new manager bounce in a sense. Maybe we can get an early effects of that because I think we do need something to spark them into life a bit. I won't get too carried away with the Norwich result yesterday, but it's a tricky place to go, Coventry. And I think once they get going, and there'll be a similar team to Norwich in a sense where they're moving the ball quick, trying to get out wide, trying to, do what they did basically in the game against us at the Den. So we'll see. I'll take a draw, to be honest, if you offer it to me now. We're not the best team on the road at the minute, as also mentioned. But yeah, I think if you said to me a 1-1 draw, I'd take that right now, to be honest with you.
Those of you watching in the comments, get in with your thoughts on Sunday's game and obviously your predictions as well. Jay?
Yeah, look, pretty much echo what Will and Omar have already said. I think Neil would have probably spoke to Livermore, maybe. I think that may have happened behind closed doors about probably what Neil would like to see. I imagine Livermore would have reached out and said, is there anything in particular you want to see, formation or player or so, just to give him a heads up. I think, like Omar said, the players are going to want to put themselves on audition with the new manager in the stands. So I think we won't be short of energy. I think we'll get after it. It's a shame that, we've got another couple of injuries, but it does open the door up. But look, as Will said, Plymouth Argyle have conceded the most goals in Championship history at this point in the season. So you're not worrying about them. Lampard, again, like Will said, doesn't do anything for me as a manager. And I think we can go and get a result there. No reason why we can't. Like Omar said, new manager bounce. Probably see some different formations, maybe a different look that Coventry haven't seen yet or not expecting us to see. I think we can go and get a result.
Yeah, I think we'll probably do Coventry. I'm more concerned with the Oxford game with Alex Neil in, because obviously Alex Neil has never beaten Gary Rowett in, I think, 10 or I think in about 12 thingies. They've never, he's drawn and he's lost, and I think Gary Rowett's got about 8 wins against him. So
in the law of averages, though, it has to end eventually.
It does, and it ends on the 1st of January 2025.
What a fantastic manager matchup, though. I mean, Rowett v Neil, 2 seasoned managers in this league, managing 2 clubs that aren't the biggest budget-wise. They've been at bigger clubs. It's a great game for them too.
No,
I'm more concerned with the fact that Omar predicted a draw and I predicted a win. I mean, that's something. I'm definitely not well, because I'm going to look back at this and think, has that happened? Omar's 4-0 up at this point, normally.
No, I'm pessimistic more than anything. It has to be said. I don't know. I just think it'll be a tricky place to go. They got that win on the other day, and they've had 2 bouts as well. Especially when it is pitch congestion, they'll probably have the more ideal preparation for this game.
They're really weird though, because they can go and hit 4 against Plymouth, but then they go and get 4 put past them by Pompey.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever side turns up, we could either get hit for 4 or hit them for 4. I mean, we haven't scored more than 1 since Wills took over at News. Then actually, we haven't scored more than 1 goal. Maybe it's a Will thing and not a Nil thing.
I was going to say, if anything, I don't see us hitting 4. That's for sure. But
absolutely not.
I'm not going to take any bets though, because I know Millwall, they'll do it just to spite me if I take a bet on. So I'm not going to do that.
No, that's it. So yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to discuss, Omar, before we bring it to a close? Obviously, on the 9 o'clock finished, that Jay's got to work and Omar's dictating that's when he has to finish, because he's got to go wash his hair.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got a question. I'll go around the room and I want everyone to put it in the chat.
I'll come to you after Omar if you want, or you can just
Jake go first.
Jake said no, because I want you all to answer. Well, I'll start with Will first, actually. So, Will, what was your best Christmas present, mate? And what was your worst?
I can't bait my mum out like that.
You're sitting there wearing a MILF t-shirt, mate. I don't think she's going to be.
The best one. I got a really good book from my sister about the guy who does the Liverpool got this maths guy in to do this head of scouting, like some scouting model. It's like possession value added or something like that. Started reading that last night. Pretty good, really readable. I didn't get any bad Christmas presents this year. Bunch of socks, which didn't look super comfortable, so I'll go for socks.
Oh, fair play. Mickey?
I got a multi socket head. It's basically one socket head, and it was and it's wicked, to be fair, right? But it's one socket head with like loads of pins in it, and it fits over any bolt and locks onto place. So rather than
I've seen them.
Mate, cool. They're fucking superb. Rather than having like loads of them. I mean, I've got some other good presents too, but that's probably a great one where it's literally, it will do something like from about 6 mil up to about 25 mil, and it just does everything in between. And it's fucking it's superb. And then just some some clothing, some socks and shit, and other bits, a new shaver for my head, and stuff like that. I'm still waiting for my Army Poppy Day Millwall shirt, but at some point that will turn up. But we're lots of stuff. And if there's any Millwall players watching, I would love a signed match worn shirt, but I'm not paying over the odds for it. But I've never got one.
Cherry over there begging. Do you know what I mean?
Would you get, Omar? Anything good, mate? Anything not you fancy that's going to get dished out as a Christmas present to someone else next year?
Yeah, you're going to get it in a minute.
I just got aftershave and I've got a torch as well. That's the worst one. I don't use a torch. I don't need one, but there you go. That's that.
A torch. Love that. I've got clothes.
Omar does his dating in the dark. That's why they got given the torch.
Yeah, dating. What's that?
No, that was all I wanted to end. A little as it is the festive period.
Where is it? Rob T. He got Incredible Hulk TV box set, which, if that's from the original one, that would be fucking class. Word present was those 2 Norwich goals. Best gift Dan Reed got off his boy was a Cooper match worn shirt. My worst were boxers that are 2 sizes too small. I think he's just trying to brag there, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Millwall blanket and a fucking hangover on Boxing Day. Will Warwick, come back, take any of our players. Harding, I don't think he will. I think Harding will get more time now. Under the new guy, I think he'll probably get more time. He does deserve it. So, yeah. So, Chris
Jared
Brown,
Goff,
best
yeah?
gift, and Jared Goff. I take it that's a Detroit Lions player.
Detroit Lions quarterback, yeah. Yeah, fair play to him.
I got a sweater. Gutted. I wanted a screamer or a
I love that. That's fuck. I had to keep reading it. It took me a while. I thought was screaming. What's a scream? I love that.
Dan Riggs says begging. Thought that was on another pod. Our viewers are always right, I suppose. So yeah. So Will, you're going to have to come on regular now, aren't you? We are in the process of forming a nicer relationship with you boys at News at Den. Obviously, I know John Kelly and co. You'll probably be back more regular through January, especially when the transfer window. We'll probably be bringing you on more shows to do this update. And you might as well give people, obviously, News at Den. Do you have your own account as well? I take it probably, or are you just working off the News at Den account?
Yeah, I have my own account. It's Will Scott Sports with 2 T's. Yeah.
Or you can find him at Will Likes MILF, but you know. That would probably get you in a whole bunch of trouble. Don't go down that pathway. There'll be plenty of people suddenly. Yeah. Let's see there. But no, look, thanks for coming on, Will.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving up your Friday night in between thingy. Again, if you like what Will says, make sure to follow him. And he's doing some, updates and some good pieces on the website. And he's got some good stories coming because he's asked me for a few contacts and stuff. And he's got some good bits coming up. So yeah, get following, stay in contact. And yeah, it's nice to have a journo what's doing it for Southwark News at the minute, what's quite active and whatnot. So yeah. Obviously, if you leave in 6 months, and I just think you're a cunt, so it don't really matter, does it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you leave in 6 months and we somehow beat Sheffield Wednesday 2-1, we score more than 1 goal, then there's going to be a lot of conspiracy theories around Will's time at News at Den, to be honest. But there's Will's handle on the screen for anybody.
No, that's it. It's up there. Will, we normally end the show with final words, so we'll start with you, and then we go Omar, Jay. Any final words what you want to give? Any words of wisdom or anything else, mate? You can do whatever you want.
I don't have any final words. I honestly, for David Livermore, who I've met a couple of times, always seems like a lovely bloke. I really want Millwall to win on Sunday, purely to give him a good send-off. He's mentioned he wants to stay at the club, and he's been told he'll stay at the club. Yeah, the players all said they want to do it for him. They gave him a clap after they won against Blackburn. Love it if they could do it again on Sunday.
No, that's nice. That's nice. I don't know if the players giving him claps that really nice though for a leaving presence, but Omar, what you got, mate? Your final?
Yeah, no, great words. I echo Will said there. Hopefully, we can get results Sunday, and yeah, we'll see. I'm more pessimistic about it, to be honest, but we'll see. Mill can sometimes prove me wrong when you least expect it. So hopefully, we do the business on Sunday, mate, and yeah, go into the new year with some festive joy, and hopefully, get one over Garrett when he comes to the Den next week.
100%, and it will be his first win.
Yes.
So yeah, it'll be Neil's first win at Millwall, and the first time he's beaten Gary Rowett as well. And we're allowed to mention his name because he's an upcoming manager at a game in a few days' time. So yeah. Jay, what you got to say, mate?
Yeah, from we've gone from 1-0 to another 0. So yeah, welcome to the oncoming manager. Hopefully the players give you something to be pleased about the weekend, and Dave Livermore can, whatever the future holds for Dave Livermore, Adam Barrett and co. Thank you for everything that you've done with the limited time that you've had, and in previous times where you've had to take a more expanded role within the club. Appreciate all your hard work, and yeah, just hope everyone goes out on a bit of a high on Sunday, and we can get a result, and Neil can come in and do the business against a former Lion.
No, I think that's it. I think you're right. Yeah. Thank you very much to Livermore. 1 win, 1 draw. Hopefully it'll be another win. So hopefully he'll end it on 2 wins, 1 draw. Hopefully he gets a decent position within the club. Adam Barrett, regardless of what happened to you, thank you very much for your 7 years worth of service. Hopefully the Southend job comes up and he can go take that, because he is a Southend legend. And I think that's probably, if there was any job out there, what had his name written all over it, and the rebuild, I think that is probably the game for him. I remember when he joined us and he was invited back to Sunderland end of season dinner as the fans' guest. And, because he asked permission if he was allowed to go back, and he went back. So, yeah, it's the 27th of December, 2024. Can we please stop all this bullshit on Twitter now about Gallen, the board, and whoever and ever? Please, if you need help, go phone Samaritans or go see a therapist. But please, let's just stop. Let's move forward. All hail the new manager. Let's support him. Let's back him, and let's see where we can get to. That is it. We are That Millwall podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe. We'll be back Sunday night because the game is Sunday. We'll be on Sunday night. Doing our live space. We may be on here. But yeah, we've got a few new surprises starting as of January. And one of them will be Omar getting a new haircut, probably, or a skin fade. Other than that, thanks very much for joining us. Hope you've all had a fantastic Christmas. Thank you very much for your support for this last year. And please do carry on next year. And if you're new, subscribe. Laters. And thank you very much. And yeah, that's it. And it helps if I lined up the right.
Oh, giddy up and get away. Oh, we're going Millwall, how we go.